Good evening, everybody. The Music Fan is back, bringing smiles to the faces, knowledge to the people, and most importantly, music to the masses. And I am back with another Are You In? And tonight we are taking a look at the newest Thom Yorke album entitled Anima. Thomas Edward Yorke is an English musician, singer, and songwriter from Wellingborough, Northamptonshire, England. You may know him best as the lead singer and songwriter for a little band called Radiohead, but he's also done some other side work, including a phenomenal album from a supergroup called Atoms for Peace entitled Muck. But his previous solo albums include The Eraser in 2006 and Tomorrow's Modern Boxes in 2014. Now, I have never listened to another solo work from Thom Yorke, but that isn't for a lack of trying. For a very long time, I've been wanting to listen to Tomorrow's Modern Boxes, even though I've heard it was panned. I have been dying to listen to it because I love Radiohead. I think that they are one of the more interesting and the more diverse bands of the last 20 plus years. If you can have a band that starts out as like a kind of a soft grunge band and go into something a little bit more like indie rock to something monumental in OK Computer and Kid A, and still have some amazing albums too, more electrical like Amnesiac, a little bit more back to that indie rock style with Hail to the Thief, or something just like very beautiful like a In Rainbows or a Moon-Shaped Pool, or even an unheralded King of Limbs, an electronic idea that I think was a little bit ahead of its time. Every one of their albums has something to grasp onto, and it's very much a shame that a lot of people only know the song Creep, because there's a lot that you can dive into and really sink your teeth into. I've never listened to Tomorrow's Modern Boxes, have been wanting to so for years, and definitely will find the time to do so. I actually didn't know that The Eraser was another one of his albums. I had always thought that it was a Radiohead project that I just never listened to. That being said, I was surprised to find out that he had dropped a new album this year, and was just really excited to find out that it got rave reviews. Now, I also know that there is a tie-in 17-minute cartoon on Netflix that I should watch eventually. However, I'm one of the few people who don't pay for Netflix, so I'm going to have to find it eventually through a friend, or maybe just cave in and eventually get Netflix. So I'm only talking about the music. This harks back to some stuff like from King of Limbs or Muck. It has a more electronic approach, and from what I'm understanding lyrically, which I won't really get into because it's really hard to go through all the metaphors that Thom Yorke goes through, it would be very much a shame for me to try to explain some of this stuff if I'm not exactly sure what is going on. But from what I've read from other reviews, a lot of people are putting it as going into ideas of dystopia, but having fun doing so in a dance fashion. Now, I do find some interesting lyrics. I'll go over a couple of them that I think are what they are, because I've gleaned some ideas, but I'm not, again, 100% sure. So, Traffic, I think, is about the dystopian future where the world is falling apart, but no one really cares. Last I heard, he was circling the drain, is about someone who's fallen on hard times and has chosen to be self-destructive. Down Chorus, some of my favorite lyrics on the album, is about debating if you want to make up for your past mistakes because you don't know if you can actually make things better, so you're just like nostalgically pining for this pain, I guess. Not the News, I think it's about facing our bleak future rather than hiding in lies about how good things are. And then my other favorite lyrics on here is The Axe, which seems to be about human obsession with technology and realizing that this access to communication and information on a global scale does not necessarily replace human touch, emotion, or connection. All those definitely tie into this idea of dystopia and about self-loathing and about very nihilistic ideas. And a lot of the music does translate into something of that, something dark yet also something jaunty and something whimsical at times. Some of my favorites including Traffic, a phenomenal opener, It has this great beat and some great minimalist approaches, and a lot of these songs are very minimal in nature. Even though they are electronic, they don't necessarily ever hit like huge highs or like ever get to like some breakdowns. It just is very much what it is and helps build a world around it. Traffic I enjoy for its very dark nature, but also the percussion on it is phenomenal. The melody is really interesting, and I like the little electronic overlays that are on Thom Yorke's voice. I very much appreciate this very whimsical chorus idea, the do 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 do, very modal in approach. I think it makes for one of the better highlights on his album. Twists is another one of these great ones that keeps that approach of very dark but also very whimsical. You have these chants of yeah from a chorus of kids at points. Thom Yorke is using his falsetto in a very effective way, another one of the better melodies on the album. And I really enjoy the chord progression, especially at the end where it kind of changes color to this more hopeful but also more bleak idea where the piano part comes in. Dawn Chorus is, if you took Pyramid Song from Amnesiac, stripped it down, made it more electronic, and added a little bit more color to the chord progression. It doesn't necessarily hit all the highs of Pyramid Song, because Pyramid Song is phenomenal, it has an amazing melody. This one is a little bit more mundane, a little bit more monotone, but I do like the idea of meter breaking, where it has this like very pulsed out nature and then eventually gets to like this kind of triplet idea before going into the next chord. It is a little bit repetitive because of that monotone vocal line where it's literally just one note for the most of the time, but it kind of makes sense in the lyrical nature of just like in the morning wishing that you could be better but looking at your past. Another awesome one is Impossible Knots. I love the percussion on this song. It's one of the more energetic songs on the album, and it makes for one of the better arrangements on the album in general. There are some more solid ones like Not the News and I'm a Very Rude Person, stuff that doesn't necessarily have a climax but is very serviceable. In particular, Not the News, I really enjoy the electronic ideas and layering on there. And Runway Away is a very interesting closer. It doesn't have a climactic feel, it's just there. There's a little bit of singing from Thom, but it's mostly a woman computer voice talking about this is when you will know who your friends are. But what I like about it is the use of guitar in here. It feels a little bit more worldly than some of the other songs on the album, and it makes for a very beautiful closer. However, there are some times where the music feels a little bit too long and these arrangements don't become interesting, they just become draining. The Axe is one of those. It's not terrible, it just feels like it goes on a little bit too long because there isn't enough there to make it truly interesting. And then Last I Heard You, Circling the Drain, it has a really cool idea where there's this overlapping vocal part from Thom. However, once you get out of those parts, it's very stagnant and it's very just unenergetic. It makes for one of the more dragging songs on the album. I do enjoy most of this album. I think it's a really cool journey, one that you need to take the time to listen to. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like some darker stuff. First one that comes to mind is like The Terror by Flaming Lips. Not on the same way of depravity, but I enjoy a lot of just the colorful tones, the interesting arrangements, the pretty level arrangements with not too much going on to make it fully climax, but not enough to like just make them stagnant. I enjoy a lot of what is there. However, if I was to compare it to some of the other works that Thom Yorke has done that are very similar, I think Amok is better. And I have just recently listened to King of Limbs, and I find a lot of that stuff a little bit more interesting. But that shouldn't necessarily change how I feel about this. For this, I would say full album listen. Yes, there are a couple of times where you are feeling like, when is this song going to end? But I think overall, there's a really cool world building in this album. One that I would like to be able to go back and watch the video with this, because I'm curious to see how those match up. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you like or hate this album and your reasons why. Let me know other albums that you'd like me to review from 2019. Share this with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel so I know that you enjoy what I do and want to help make this channel bigger and better. So tomorrow, I'm going to be back with a special video going over my 10 favorite albums of 2019 so far. Will this one make the cut? You'll just have to wait until tomorrow to find out. Until then, this is The Music Fan, and I'm signing off.